If you're thinking about buying a home in Charlotte, North Carolina, then you're probably interested in learning about the market stats. It is a fascinating market out here, and lots of buyers and sellers are feeling the squeeze. So, right now, buyers are facing higher interest rates than they have since pre pandemic, and they are facing higher prices in the market. Lots of people have differing points of view on where the market is going next, and nobody really knows. But what we do know is what's happening now. So let's take a look at the current market stats for Charlotte, North Carolina. Keep in mind that these stats come from March 2022. They cover the whole month, and they're looking back over months and years, and we're going to take a look together. So let's just look at a couple of these stats that I think you'll find interesting. Let's go ahead and talk about new listings. You can see that March of 2022, we're looking right here, 5,253 new listings in the month of March. That was a decrease of 8.1% over last year. If we look over on the graph on the right, we can actually see an increase from last month though. If you actually take a look at this graph, we have been increasing ever since December of 2021. That's a good sign, and it's pretty much, people did see it coming as we head into the spring market. The new listings do tend to pick up a little bit. So it is expected, and the expectation is that it will continue to rise at least a little bit. So if we look down at this graph, you can see real estate is always seasonal, and a lot of people say cyclical. So you can see how over every year you can see similar patterns coming into play. We are at a very low number though, at 5,253, but definitely not as low as last December. All right, so keep that in mind for new listings. Let's talk about pending sales. These are contracts that are pending. They've received an offer, they are not yet closed. And for March 2022, we had 4,946, which was a decrease of 9.6%. If we take a look over on the graph on the right, we can see that since December, we have an increase each month, just like you would expect, considering the new listings also increased. So new listings are a little bit higher than pending sales, and given the season we're in, that's pretty expected too. Again, we can see that the seasonal trends of pending sales kind of follow the same thing as the new listings. So let's go ahead and move to closed sales. Now, in the month of March, we had 4,519, which was a decrease of 10.2% from last year. And you can see over on the graph on the right, we did increase from February, and February was an increase from January. So we are seeing that. Notice that the closed sales will trail behind the other two stats we just looked at. So we're pretty much seeing that same pattern. We're just trailing on the pending and new listings. All right, so you can see that in the graph as well. The next stat we're going to take a look at can be a little bit misleading, and I'm going to explain to you what I mean. It says days on market until sale. So they are taking the number of days that a home is active on the market, and the number of days it's also under contract show, which is another status in our MLS. It's counting those days only and stopping when a home goes under contract no show. It also doesn't count points. It doesn't count days for temporarily off market, and it's definitely not counting when it's closed, expired, or withdrawn. So essentially, it is counting the days that is actively for sale or can be shown to potential buyers. And that number is 20 days for March 2022, decrease of 20% from last year. And you can see the number is a low number considering the graph over the past year. Keep in mind the lowest it had been was 14. So it can go down below 20. The reason this number is misleading is because you cannot come into the market thinking that you can buy a home and you can wait around, that it's going to be sitting on the market for 3 weeks. Okay. The homes that are priced properly and hit the market, especially if they're in high demand, if they're in a subdivision, if it's in areas that are highly sought after, good schools, things like that, then what we're typically seeing is that a home will go on the market on Thursday or Friday and be under contract by Sunday or Monday. So we're really talking about a home hits the market only for the weekend in a lot of cases. So as a buyer, it is important that you go in with first of all, that you go in quickly. If you see a home that you absolutely love, please go see it right away. It is very likely that a lot of other buyers also love that home and will also be looking after it. So if it's generating a lot of traffic and getting a lot of tours, then most likely it will receive multiple offers and there will be competition involved. So just keep that in mind. The reason it is so misleading is they are taking thousands of sales into account. Thousands of sales. And do you know how many homes are on the market that are overpriced or that need substantial work and they sit for a few weeks? So as a seller, it is important to also note that if you don't price your home properly, it's going to be sitting on the market longer than the common 3, 4, 5 days. And when that happens, when everyone's used to seeing them fly off the shelf and your home is sitting, it will look like something's wrong. So please have a real knowledgeable discussion with your realtor and price at the market value. If you price it properly, you'll get multiple showings and you're more likely to get multiple offers. I heard one time one of the realtors that I really respect said, every home will sell if it's priced properly. So it's very important that you not try to overprice the market, because when you do, it will sit. And when you're either lowering that price multiple times or it's sitting for weeks on the market, it's going to look bad on your home. So we don't want that to happen. All right, so let's move on to our next stat. And you can see, actually, let me show you this graph. You can see that before, there was a crash here. So we had much higher days on market happening in 2010, 2011, 2012. Then it started coming down around 2014. And again, you're seeing that seasonal increase and decrease. It's very common in real estate to see patterns in the graphs. Next up, let's talk about average sales price. Average sales price for the month of March was $429,393, an increase of 15.6% over last year. And you can tell on this graph, particularly, I wanted to share the highest average sales price in Charlotte history. So we are looking at a new number we haven't seen before. $429,393 as the average sales price in Charlotte. So you want to keep this in mind as you are thinking about buying in the Charlotte area. It is important that you realize that many buyers are being priced out of the market. The first-time home buyers, the ones, a huge demographic, the millennials, are facing a time when they are ready to buy. They've been saving up, they're ready to buy, and the prices just keep rising. That, coupled with rising interest rates, is really putting a lot of stress on those buyers. All right, let's go ahead to the next one, median sales price. I kind of like median sales price better, not because it's lower, but because to me, an average can sometimes show a skewed number. Because again, when you're talking average, you're talking thousands of data points and you're adding all of them from the lowest to the highest and dividing to get that average number. And it's not always as, it doesn't illustrate the market as well. For median, that's the very middle number. So it's telling you out of all of the numbers, you have all your data points lined up, point by point by point, and they go right to that middle data point and get the median sales price. I tend to like this one better. Again, it's still showing the highest median sales price in history in the Charlotte area, $369,236, which is over $9,000 more than last month. And it's 20% higher than last March. All right, so from 1 year, in 1 year's time, it went up almost $63,000. So the market is moving quickly. Just keep that in mind as you are thinking about buying in this market. This is another misleading number, percent of original list price received. It says 101.8%, an increase of 1.7%, and you can see it has increased from last month and the month before. But keep in mind that this, again, is a huge average, averaging all those data points when many homes that are in areas that people are really interested in, they have the great amenities in the subdivisions, they're in a great location, maybe they're by the lake or one of the two lakes, maybe it's just that it's a popular school district. In any case, those homes are selling for $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over list price, much higher than 1.8%. So keep in mind, you want to talk to your real estate agent. You want to be able to trust your real estate agent to draw up comps for the area, for the subdivision. And you want to go into this knowing that there is still an appraisal to think about. If you are purchasing with a loan, with a mortgage, the bank is going to want to get an appraisal done. Keep in mind that some buyers, actually many buyers in this market, are offering appraisal gap waivers, meaning they're saying, if we get a low appraisal, I'm still going to cover that difference. I want this house and I will pay the extra if I have to. All right, so just keep that in mind. You want to know your budget, you want to know what you can handle, and you want to be able to trust your agent to tell you what that home is actually worth in the market. Nobody can tell you what it's worth to you, but the agent can help you look at the actual value, the market value, considering that neighborhood. All right, so if we look at our graph here, you can see, again, the historical, what has happened with the percent, the list price. All right, if we look back at 2009, 2010, 2011, we saw very, very low numbers, even below 90. It looks like maybe 85, 86. Actually, no, that's 85. Like 87, 88 maybe right here, which is, I can't even imagine it. I was not a real estate agent at that time. I cannot imagine numbers that low, but we are over 100% in this current market. All right, next up, inventory of homes for sale. If we look at this graph here, we can see that we are now at an all-time low for inventory of homes for sale, 2,455, a decrease of almost 40% from last year. And you can see even month to month, we keep getting lower. All right, so notice the trend. Homes are harder and harder to find. One of the things that's impacting that is we continue to have more people looking. All right, so as demand gets higher, they're scooping up these homes, even the ones that aren't perfect, they're scooping them up off the market. And a lot of corporations are doing the same thing. I saw a stat in an article that said about 30% of the homes purchased last year were purchased by corporations and hedge funds. So they are scooping up the inventory, and that means there is not a lot on the market. So if you are jumping into this market, please trust your real estate agent. Have someone who's knowledgeable about this market. All right, and last but not least, let's talk about month's supply of homes for sale. We are at half a month of homes for sale, and if we look, this is super low. I don't think we've had anything lower than 0.5. It looks to me like it's probably at its lowest point. Um, Having half a month of homes on the market is extremely low. Keep in mind that if you are thinking about, buyer's market versus seller's market, right now, obviously, you don't even have to know a lot about real estate to know that we are in a hot seller's market. In order to get to a buyer's market, we have to exceed 6 months supply. If you can tell on this map, 6, somewhere right around here, has not happened for a while, probably since 2014. So a buyer's market is something that is so unrealistic. And of course, I can't tell the future, but getting back to a buyer's market is not going to happen overnight. So if you are waiting for a buyer's market to buy in Charlotte, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you, but it would be unrealistic to think it's happening anytime soon. All right, if you have questions about this market update, please reach out. I love talking about the data. I used to be a science teacher, so for some reason, I guess I just love the data points and talking about this, but I am absolutely obsessed with real estate, and this is so exciting to me. If you have questions about it, I would love to help you understand the market a little bit better. Please reach out. My number is on the screen below and also down in the description. Thanks so much for watching. If you stuck around this long, you must really love numbers in the market too. I hope this helped. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Have a great day. Bye.